Haiti is currently in the grips of a violent political crisis. Gangs have laid siege to the country's capital, now controlling an estimated 80% of Port-au-Prince. They're threatening civil war if Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry doesn't resign. Schools and businesses have closed amid heavy gunfire, and Canada's embassy has reportedly been shut down. A 3-day state of emergency in the capital has been extended for a month, as government buildings, prisons, and both of the country's international airports are now under gang control, leaving no way for people to get in or out.
Every night there's been gunfire, heavy gunfire every night as well. It's gangs shooting at the police. Then our hotel security, I think, has been shooting at the gangs a little bit. Then the gangs shoot back at our hotel security. It's just it's absolute chaos down here right now. We've called for private airplanes. Nobody can come in. We're just stuck here until something happens. Our big fear is that if the National Police Force actually collapses on itself, then there's going to the gangs that control 80% might control 100%, and then there'll be nowhere to go.
For more on the unfolding violence, André François Giroux is Canada's ambassador to Haiti, and he joins us now from the country's capital. Ambassador, thanks for taking the time today.
Thank you for having me.
We just heard from a Canadian there who says he's trapped in Haiti because of what's happening there. You are there right now. What is your assessment of the situation in the country and particularly in the capital?
Well, no doubt, as per your introduction, the situation is very critical. This is not new. There are some new elements in the sense that it's the first time that the airport flights are being canceled systematically day after day after day, and for good reason. It was under attack by some of the gang. What we've seen over the last week basically is the gang working together and targeting some of the key infrastructure, the port, the airport, and some of the police station. So this is obviously a new change and very concerning, creating a lot of insecurity. And as you pointed out, the fact that the airport is the only real way in and out of Port-au-Prince. The roads to the Dominican Republic are not safe. You can't really leave by boat, so it is in that sense a real source of stress. I can assure you that the Canadian Embassy staff are well housed, and we're working from home. So the embassy, strictly speaking, isn't shut down. It is operating. We're still providing services to Canadians. We're not accepting people in-person meetings, but other than that, we are very much carrying on our activities. So what's sad about all of this, obviously, is that the poor, the Haitians, are captive of all that violence and that insecurity. And as you pointed out, 40–50% of the population suffering from food insecurity, as well as displaced due to gang activity. What we've seen over the last 2 or 3 days is relative calm, and which we take as a good sign, because there are talks right now among the main political actors as a way of trying to find an exit out of this situation right now. So we are hopeful that they may be able to come together and propose an alternative to the chaos that we are currently experiencing.
Yeah, I remember a little over a year ago, I believe it was when the Prime Minister was at CARICOM, they announced support for the Haitian police and patrol support for the harbor, so that police didn't have to worry about that and they could focus on the city itself. But you heard the concerns there. There's a fear that the National Police may collapse, and we've heard concerns about them not being paid enough to do the job required of them, not being trained well enough, not being equipped well enough to deal with the gangs. What is your sense on the security of the police force at this point in this latest flare-up?
Well, Canada, as you said, Prime Minister Trudeau a year ago recognized the need to do something dramatic to help the national police to rebuild itself. So we've committed $100 million for equipment, technical assistance, and training, and we're quite well advanced in committing those funds. So a lot of that work is taking place. That's also why, and then in addition to this, we're leading a coordination of the 30 so donors, so that we can really have a good assessment of what are the needs of the police, and then so that every donor can come and contribute in coordinated ways, so that we don't duplicate efforts, and then we identify gaps as well. Just earlier this week, there was a meeting, an urgent meeting of these coordination group, just to see what can we do urgently. Critical equipment, because the police, as you pointed out, has been working around the clock to try to stabilize the situation. This is why the multinational force is also needed. And then Canada announced its contribution about 2 weeks ago, 80 million to this Kenyan-led force approved by UN Security Council. So, this has been a long the insecurity has been the reality of Port-au-Prince for the last few years, but we are at a critical point in time, and due to the political void, there's no doubt that this is not helping. The last thing I would just like to say, because I think it's something important, is that Canada has also taken a real leadership in putting sanctions in place, and then other countries now are following suit. And those sanctions, although it's hard to see when you look at the situation today, but they are starting to have an impact on the behavior of those who have been behind the scene contributing to the insecurity.
But Ambassador, we have this situation now where Ariel Henry can't return to the country. He's been in charge nominally since Jovenel Moïse was assassinated. We've seen Antony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, saying Mr. Henry's position is untenable and maybe he needs to step down, and the gangs have taken even further control of the city. So, I mean, what do you think needs to happen? What is Canada's position on whether Mr. Henry can stay on, given what's happening in the country right now?
Well, Minister Joly, Prime Minister Trudeau have had numerous occasions where they encourage Ariel Henry to open up, share power, be inclusive. He has made genuine effort, but unfortunately, those never materialize. Canada's position is that if the active forces in Haiti come together and bring together an agreement, a solution that will take the country towards election in the foreseeable future, we will be supportive of that. That's for sure, and that's been our position for the last year or so.
Okay, we spoke to UN Ambassador Bob Rae earlier in the show, and he said he's going to Jamaica on Sunday for a meeting of the CARICOM countries to discuss this situation. Can you give us a sense of what you think may come out of this to try to stabilize things? What do you hope the CARICOM nations can do, maybe to make it safer for people in Haiti and you and your embassy staff?
Yeah, well, the CARICOM Imminent Person Group and the CARICOM leadership, the leaders of the Caribbean community, have been quite involved, especially these past few days, in trying to facilitate that dialogue that I just was referring to earlier today. So the hope is that, and then they're definitely driving the process. And so very much the hope is that with Bob in Ambassador Rae in Jamaica, is that maybe all the stars could align, and then we could see a resolution of the crisis, the political crisis that we're seeing right now.
Just a final question, Ambassador. I mean, this interview all seems very normal. You've got your tie on, you're joining us from Zoom, but the embassy is closed. You're in this 30-day state of emergency, and you and your staff, I'm presuming, are under some form of lockdown or protection. I mean, how are you and your people doing in all of this?
We're doing well, and again, the embassy isn't closed. We are operating. We are carrying on our duties, and we are servicing Canadians. But we are doing it for the most part remotely. As considering the insecurity, we are reducing to the minimum our movement on the ground. But we are well. I mean, this is not new. Insecurity is at a bottom low right now in Haiti, but it's been the reality here, unfortunately, for quite a few years, and that's why there were efforts to put this multinational security force in place. So, but thank you for asking. The staff, the morale is good. We are, I mean, we were prepared because that's the reality of serving in Haiti. So we have everything we need to carry on with our work and the activities.
Well, Ambassador, we appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today and hope you and your staff stay safe. That's André François Giroux, Canada's ambassador to Haiti. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.